and the Cubs have won it. The celebration begins right near home plate with Rondon and Montero right in the middle of it. The Chicago Cubs have defeated the St. Louis Cardinals and are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
Love seeing that crowd. The young Cubs clinched a postseason series at Wrigley Field for the first time ever, beating the St. Louis Cardinals 6-4 Tuesday to win the NL Division Series in 4 games. The Cubs are now the favorite to win the World Series. Stephen A., are you now convinced it's finally the Cubbies' year?
No, I am not. I will be the first to admit that. First of all, let me say this. Theo Epstein is destined for the Hall of Fame. These guys win the World Series. This guy erased not one but 2 curses. First in Boston, and then it would obviously be in Chicago. It would be phenomenal. Theo Epstein is absolutely positively the man. Number 2, I have always been a fan of Madden, the manager. I am a huge, huge fan of his. I thought he should have been the manager in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. I thought they were foolish to keep Mattingly and not bring him on board. Number 3, these guys, 4 players, 23 years or younger, hitting home run. You've got Bryant, you've got Baez, you've got Rizzo, you've got Schwarber. I mean, these guys are impressive. And Arrieta is an absolute stud, even though he didn't look like one in Game 2. I get all of that. I get all of that. But I'm not going to lie to you. As sacrilegious as this may sound, and I'm here to tell you I will not root against the Cubs, because my goodness, do I think that would be phenomenal for baseball, and particularly that fan base. I think it would be fantastic. But I'm not ruling out my Mets. I know Kershaw put on a show for the Dodgers last night. I know the $215 million man showed up and earned his paycheck. All right, I saw what he did against the Mets last night. There's no question about it. But last time I checked, for Game 5, even though the Dodgers have Greinke, my Cy Young Award winner, going to the mound, I got to tell you, this kid DeGrom is lights out. This brother's big time. And in this particular situation, I mean, these guys that the Mets have in their pitching staff, they're young. They have no fear. I mean, this guy got taken out of the game by Terry Collins, Skip, in Game 1. This dude was still pitching in the mid-90s when he got taken out. Wasn't tired at all. Could have gone longer, but Terry Collins elected not to do so. I have to see the Mets get knocked off first. If the Mets get knocked off, would I pick the Cubs to win the pennant? Yes, I would. I absolutely would. I would pick them to beat the Dodgers, okay? But I got to tell you, I'm not ruling out my Mets yet. I should say my Mets because I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I ain't no damn Mets fan. But I admire what I see. I love their pitching staff. I'm in love with their pitching staff. From DeGrom to Thor Syndergaard himself to Matt Harvey to Matz himself. Wheeler's coming back next year. I don't want to hear all this stuff about trading Harvey. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. Cespedes is big time. Okay, Murphy showed up. I don't like what I see from David Wright. That's a different story for another day. Got love for Granderson. I really believe that this is going to be tough. But if the Mets get past the Dodgers and Greinke, I believe they will beat the Cubs and they will get to the World Series. I really do. So the jury's still out. I'd pick the Cubs to beat the Dodgers, but I would have picked the Cubs to beat the Mets. And I think the Mets with DeGrom can still take the Dodgers in Game 5.
Let me start by saying, this is just my 2 cents. I think you love DeGrom because you envy his hair. That's what I think. You'd like to have you some of DeGrom's hair. Is that possible?
Well, nothing racial going on here, but, you know, white hair is different than black hair. So,
different.
you know, so yeah. That's what, and if he was a brother with a full head of hair, then I would definitely be jealous. Because I could move my hairline about 2 feet forward. I'll admit it. I'm approaching that George Jefferson stage. I'll admit it.
Stephen A., you look great.
You do look great.
You look great.
You know what? You do look young for your age today. I got to compliment you. You look really good today.
Did you hear what he said today? Just want to make sure you caught
that.
Today. Yeah.
Today. I had to qualify that statement. Okay, now we're back on course here. Now we're back to business. Yes. You have told me that your father instructed you as a child never, ever to even consider rooting for the New York Mets. But now you flip-flopped all the way around too because your Yankees are out of it. Now you're hanging in with the Mets. And I got to tell you, they're dead. They're done. It's over. They had their chance at home last night, and they blew it. Right. And now it is Greinke in Los Angeles in Chavez Ravine. I'm sorry you're not going to win that game. And I'm just disappointed in you from your father's perspective that you could even find it in your heart to root for the Mets right now.
Well, I didn't say root.
Well,
what I'm
saying
saying is what
very disrespectful.
Well, listen. What I think is going to happen. That's what I'm saying. I love their pitching staff, and you have to remember, one of my best friends in the world is my boy. Both of y'all met Jeff. There
Jeff
is
comes
no
up
more
every
big,
day on the show. Long Beach, California.
There's no bigger diehard Mets fan than him. You understand? I mean,
that guy was born and raised. I mean, he grew up a Mets fan.
But he's my man, and he's been living in depression for the last 25 years. Right. So I'm trying to look out for him, you know?
Okay,
but I'm just saying to you that I love the Mets pitching staff, and I don't believe they're done because I believe DeGrom being on the hill does a lot for them. I can't wait for that matchup against Greinke. I know it's going to be big time. We'll see what happens. But I can't root against the Cubs. I just think that would be a phenomenal story. I'm tired of the curse. I would love to see the Cubs win it. I don't think they can beat that pitching staff on the New York Mets because as good as Arrieta is, there's no, I like Lester too, but Kershaw and Greinke is a bigger deal than Arrieta and Lester. And so for me, and so for me, if the Mets get past the Dodgers, I can't see the Cubs beating them.
Okay. I have told you 3 times now on this show, this is the Cubs' year. They're finally going to break through.
You did say that.
You like the Cardinals in this last series. I took the Cubs against all odds. And I grew up a Cardinals fan in Oklahoma City because it's all we had. Harry Carey and Jack Buck on KMOX in the car every night. Well, seriously. Right. Okay, now back to the Cubs. I did work in Chicago, as you know, as a columnist for the Chicago Tribune. I spent a whole lot of time in Wrigleyville, at Wrigley Field, covering those lovable losers who used to be the Chicago Cubs. I'm very happy for all of my friends in Chicago who are diehard Cubs fans.
So am
but
I.
I got to tell you, and they won't like me saying this, I don't think they trust the Cubs any more than, well, it's like I don't think they've conceded yet this is the year because what can go wrong always has gone wrong for them. But I think their team has broken through psychologically, to your point, thanks to Joe Madden. All of his little shticks and all the skits that they do and having the petting zoo in the outfield, he has managed to take the pressure off this team and to make them laugh at Billy Goats and Black Cat curses that they've been afflicted with in the past. So all of a sudden, this team, I told you, in body language, in spirit, in resilience, they don't resemble the Chicago Cubs I covered those years in Chicago because what happened last night? The kid Piscotty, with 2 batters into the game. Hamill walks the first guy, and then Piscotty goes deep, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. And trust me, a whole lot of people out there in those left field bleachers are thinking, oh, my God, here we go again. Right on schedule. This is it. We could close this thing out at home, and they've done it to us again. And do not underestimate how much rivalry there is between Cardinals and Cubs. They are arch rivals, just like Bears and Packers are. So they get out of it, they bounce back, and they take the lead 4-2 because the team doesn't believe what can go wrong will go wrong. And then what happened? Top of the 4th, Hamill walks the first guy, gets replaced. Then it's an easy bouncer to Chris Bryant, and it's a double play ball, it looks like, and he botches it. And all of a sudden, it's 1st and 2nd with nobody out. And trust me, people all around Wrigley Field are saying, oh, my God, what could go wrong has just gone wrong. The floodgates are about to open. And Justin Grimm comes in and goes boom, 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 and strikes out the side. And the Cubs survive because this team believes it can beat anybody because it just beat the 2 best teams in baseball. It beat the Pirates in the 1 game in the wild card playoff. And then it went head-to-head with the best team in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals, who know how to win in the postseason. And they couldn't do it against the Cubs. So the Cubs are going into the championship series with high confidence. Well, this is their year. They're on a roll, and they know it.
Well, listen, a couple of things. Number one, when I picked the Cardinals, I stand by that pick, even though they lost, because I thought Yadier Molina would find a way in the lineup. He hasn't been healthy.
Nope.
That's a very, very big deal.
Sure.
And people who don't know baseball don't appreciate the significance of a catcher. That's the guy that calls the game. That's the guy that controls the pitcher. That's the guy that studies the batters and knows what's going on and knows how to call a game. And if you find somebody better behind the plate than Yadier Molina, you show me who he is and I'll call you a liar, particularly in the postseason, even though Buster Posey is up there. The combination of him and Matheny I thought would have done wonders for St. Louis, but Tony Cruz ain't going to cut the mustard in that regard. And as a result, it ended up being what it was. My hat's off to the Cubs. But when I look at the Mets, again, I'm thinking about pitching, because what we're talking about with pitching is that pitching delivers rings in the sport of baseball.
Okay.
And I don't know anybody who has it in droves the way that the New York Mets have it. You know, their bats went a little silent yesterday because, you listen, they were in the game. They just couldn't produce any runs. Kershaw was absolutely fantastic. Your guy, who you criticized at several times in the past, and rightfully so, only had a 1-6 record with an ERA near 5 in the postseason. Somehow, some way, Skip, the $215 million man stepped up.
That was big
handled
time.
his business.
Big time.
But we can't say that about him now.
Nope.
He showed up.
Nope,
so we got to
showed
give
up.
credit where credit is due.
I agree.
But we'll see what happens in Game 5. We will see.
We will see, and you're going to, I'm sorry, but you're going to take another beating here, because the Mets that you love now, they're not going to be able to pull this one off.
Look, I'm just rooting for my boy Jeff. No doubt about it. I'm not going to betray. Dad, I didn't betray you. I didn't betray you, Dad. You understand? I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. They got a great pitching staff. It is what it is. But if the Mets lose, I will jump on your bandwagon, Skip, and I will pick the Cubs.
1908 will Theo Epstein reverse the curse again. The Cubs will travel to either LA or New York to start the NLCS on Saturday. To the association up next, the Warriors are defending how they won the title last season. The MVP sounds off after the break. Stay here.